Welcome to Season 3, Episode 12 of Relics of Ore. We have been around for a long time, apparently. And we are going to be talking about Guild Wars 2 this week. I am joined by Evee and Kate.
Hello.
And this week we're going to be talking about the PAX qualifier, the European PAX qualifier that happened this week. We are going to be talking about the strange team comps that we're seeing. We're also going to be talking about a little bit of cutthroat politics and sort of what we've been up to in it and some analysis of things going on. The Queen's Jubilee was announced this morning with a lot of information about it and sort of what's going on there. So we're going to be talking a lot about that and the cool stuff that's going to come out with that. Also, we will be talking a little bit about the awesome interview with Bobby Stein over at Guild Wars 2 Hub, gw2hub.com, about the living story and sort of what's going on with that. So, let's get right into it and start talking. And PAX qualifier. Interesting stuff happened there, actually. Team Paradigm won. We had some very strange...
Which wasn't that interesting, because they always win.
They're really good. Team Paradigm's... I mean, they were around in Guild Wars 1. They've done other games too, haven't they? They're...
Yeah, I'm familiar with the name, but I'm not sure what else. I couldn't tell you what else they play off the top of my head.
So,
good thing I have Google in front of me.
Yeah, but they've been around a while, and they're well known, and they are quite good, and they have played together a lot. So they are... You expect them to win, usually, but there was some strange stuff going on. Specifically, there were no Mesmers on either of the two championship teams. None. Which...
Why is that strange?
Weird. Because it's a Mesmer PvP. Portal. The team mobility...
who know less about PvP than
yeah,
us,
okay,
why is it strange that Mesmers are not there?
Evee, why was it strange that there were no Mesmers?
Okay, the thing with Mesmers is they're incredible... My hair is all over the place. Mesmers are incredibly powerful as far as power plays in the English, SPVP. So the fact that there are no Mesmers on either comp leads me to believe that both the teams are not bringing their A game, that they are saving it for later.
Is it? Because I interpreted it as necromancers have become strong enough that it's almost worth taking a necromancer over a Mesmer. Nope. Okay, because I will continue to be wrong, but...
Well, you're kind of right, yeah, but the thing is, it's gotten to the point now where necromancers are getting trained.
See, the thing was... Well, necromancers are still super functional. The issue is that they took a thief instead of a Mesmer. The thief took the Mesmer role, which was odd. Assuming that it was
a thief. I play a thief, even in SPVP, and I'm just like, why?
Yeah. So Evee, when you watched it, what was the thief doing? I mean, what were they bringing to the actual match? What did you see them doing in the match?
The biggest thing is they were trying to get a power play in the beginning, in early game, with stealth bombing, which would have succeeded if they had the damage for it, which thieves don't.
So the team comp was on Paradigm was a ranger, a thief, a necromancer, an engineer, and a guardian. The other team was elementalist, thief, necro, engineer, guardian, with the guardian and the engineer making up the bunkers. The necro, thief, and rangers were both roamers, I do believe, weren't they? Were all three roamers?
There was, I mean, in general, there was less roaming and more just team positioning, because roamers tend to kind of stick to themselves and they don't play on points unless it's a huge team fight.
Okay, so
but these matches were nothing but team fights.
So they were all tankish builds then?
Yeah, I mean, even with the thieves, none of them were playing with a dagger main hand. which is what you do for backstabs. So Pariah, no. Backstabs did not exist in these
Was
matches.
anyone using the new Torment stack ability?
Nope.
They were using, both the thieves were using, at least as I could tell, I know at least one of them was using sword dagger and short bow, because short bow is necessary for PvP.
They were both using it. I saw both of them. I watched the
And
first
they had
two
the same
matches.
utilities, I think. So it was just like they're running the same build, and it was a high evasion build, so that they can stay in team fights. Because if not, thieves just gonna go.
Which happened a little bit anyway.
So they weren't stacking condies for the Necro?
No.
Nope. They had sword
focused on
dagger.
evasion so that they can stay in team fights. That's literally pretty much all they did. That and stealth. This is like. I mean, sure, if you want to do stealth bombs that badly, you can do it with a mesmer. Why did you bring a thief? Why?
So your theory is that they were holding their mesmers in reserve.
Yes, I'm fairly confident that they brought half their A game.
So compare that to the what are their names? The lead North American team with Subcutie and that group, which Subcutie is like currently considered the best mesmer in the game, I do believe, or at least for SPVP. And so they have seen how he plays a lot.
Obviously.
So are they holding back their mesmer so that the other team can't say, "Oh, this is how they're," so that the North American team can't say, "Oh, this is how he plays his mesmer. We know how to counter that because we practice against."
it.
Right.
Because I mean, with SPVP, the way the balance works is that for every build, if it's in any way balanced, there is going to be a counter for it, some way or another.
Right. And as we've seen,
Even if it's through a team comp, there is a counter for it. So if these teams are bringing their A game in the very first match, and people know, oh, this is what they're going to bring for their final match when they're going to try to actually win, they're going to try to build counters to the big man, which is Team Paragram.
Yeah.
Or Paragram, whatever.
Paradigm.
Yeah.
Team Suedo.
I have Spanish influence. Yeah. Team Suedo. Suedo.
There needs to be a Team Suedo. And you need to lead it, Evie.
Can that be our PvP team?
No,
So, full
my
of
team
thieves.
is
So I was kind of
Ow.
excited when I saw that the thief was actually in this fight, because I was thinking that they were doing something cool, because the comp...
It's funny, because I was excited too. I was just like, oh my god, a thief. And then I was just like, oh, everything this thief is doing, someone else can do better.
What I was expecting was two things. I was expecting, first of all, the thief to be a roamer, a roamer condition stacker that would do pressure along with the Necro. And so the Necro and him would just stack conditions out the wazoo. The Necro would epidemic it, and then the Ranger could come in and do a spike attack using probably longbow or a short bow with Quickening Zephyr. Drop that spike attack. The thief would switch weapon sets to a more aggressive weapon set, probably maybe short bow or something.
Short bow is not aggressive. Here's the thing with thief. No matter what build you have, your second weapon set has to be a short bow.
Okay. So
Done.
does, for example, if they went pistols dagger, which is the torment stacker, which I think would be huge in PvP, can that build spike if they spam one skill using? Are there any spike skills in that?
The closest thing to a spike skill in that set would be going into melee, going into stealth, and using sneak attack, which gives you 6 stacks of bleed.
Do you think that if one of the teams had switched in a mesmer, they would have won hands down?
If one of the teams switched their thief to a mesmer, they could have still used the power play of stealth with veil, and maybe even mass invisibility if they wanted to sacrifice time warp for it. I mean, they did fine without time warp as it is. And they would have had portal, which would have allowed even more power plays. I really think that they were testing out the importance of stealth without having a mesmer, and the only way to do that is with a thief.
Do you think they could have been trying to? So you think that since it's $10,000 on the line ultimately that it's going to be, but that's not necessarily huge for a pro team, I do believe. I mean, that's...
I mean,
it's $2,000 a pop.
Fair, but
yeah.
like still, even then, with a team like TP, I'm just gonna call them TP because I can't say
Team Paradigm, aka Team TP.
TP. I mean, at this point, they know that as long as they play their builds effectively and there's a synergy within their team, they have a shot at winning. If not, yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how it play. What the comps are for the actual final at PAX this year in August, I do believe. Mm-hmm. So it's coming up really soon, actually, because it's North America next weekend. Is that weekend after that PAX?
I don't even know.
It'll be interesting to see.
Someone in chat brought up a good point that even if the Thieves were placeholders for the Mesmers, this shows that Thieves are viable. Which is very true, because at least to some extent, they were able to hold their own. And for the longest time, they weren't like that.
So the small tweaks that they've been doing over the past month or two have really actually brought them up.
Sword Dagger, the changes they did to that made a huge difference, and you see that with these particular comps right now. They're definitely going in the right direction. It's just I really think that they could have been stronger with a Mesmer there.
Interesting. The Ranger was an interesting choice, because I know for a long time Rangers were not a big thing, and you seem to think that that was actually the biggest... That was the deciding factor between the two, the fact that they went with Ranger over Elementalist. Why is that?
The Ranger has more survivability on top of the offensive power.
So it was... And now, did you watch and see how the Ranger played? Did you see much?
Sword Dagger, there was the Spirits. Spirits are amazing in PvP, especially if you spec into them. Yes. And he was using Healing Spring, which combined with the blast finisher that Thief can put out, that's a lot of sustainability in a team fight.
Do you think that actually might make the Thief almost equivalent to the Mesmer, in that the Mesmer provides Portal, which is an escape, but the Thief-Ranger combo provides that insane heal?
Not quite, because you still need the two of them, right?
But you're running a team with 5 people.
Yeah,
I mean, you build your team around that. I mean, this could be a team comp that, yes, with the combo.
Weren't we just talking about how Thieves are off on their own, kind of? They're roaming?
Was the Thief roaming in this fight, Evee?
The Thieves... I was surprised how much those Thieves were just everywhere. If there was a team fight, that Thief was there.
So they were able to use their mobility to just, bam, get where they needed to go. Interesting. Now, there was a significant amount more mobility on Elementalist than there is on Ranger. Did that actually seem to have an effect on certain fights?
The thing is, with the Elementalist, even considering the mobility that they have, it's just the survivability, like comparing the two, the Ranger was just able to hold out more.
So the Ranger might come later to the fight, but he's also able to stay in that fight longer. And those fights were long. Those team fights were like a minute.
Just as an example, there was a point where TP had just a Guardian on the middle point in... oh my god, which is the one with the 2 mobs that you can kill?
Niflheim.
Niflheim. And there were 2 people down. This Guardian was sitting on the midpoint by himself, had no support, and CC had just gotten their entire team back after...
Which is Car Crash, which is the team that they were playing against.
And the Elementalists, and I can't remember who other 2, because the spectator mode people were sticking to specific people rather than spectating from above. I don't know why they did that. Came in, and this Guardian was able to hold out just long enough for the Ranger to come in. He literally went down as the Ranger showed up. And then the Ranger was able to hold that point until the rest of his team showed up. If that was an Elementalist, he might have showed up before the Guardian went down, but he would not have been able to res that Guardian without using some kind of serious power play, like Misform. It would have been incredibly risky, and afterwards he probably would have went down himself.
Interesting. And what was the second weapon set for the Guardian, or for the Ranger again? They were using short bow and sword dagger?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It was either short bow or long bow. I can't remember. I never saw stealth coming from the ranger, so I'm assuming it was a short bow.
Okay. Which, yes, I love that stealth so much on my ranger. That
I'm
is
actually
fantastic.
surprised they didn't use it because stealth was such a huge part of that team comp. It's like,
yeah. Well, at the same time, though, I can... If they were going for a Condi build, which it seemed like from the spectators, there were just conditions everywhere constantly.
Well, those conditions were basically the necromancers.
Really? He was just throwing them out like a maniac. Good for him. Good for you, necromancers. I approve.
Which is why both teams needed a guardian, because without them,
there's no cleansing. And the warrior's not up to snuff yet for like cleansing like a guardian is.
Unfortunately not. I would love to see warriors get to the point where they can cleanse like guardians and have decent CC with a hammer in SPVP.
I did fight a
their drawback is getting into position. Once they get into position, though, they are forces to be reckoned with. It's just right now it's so easy to keep them out of that position where they can do something.
So they need more. So they need more stability, really.
I wouldn't say stability. They just need more, like, pop-in mobility.
What if you gave them a ton of stability and then countered it by like having a slow effect? Like when they pop their stabilities, they move slower. No,
That's
no.
It still wouldn't. Yeah, it wouldn't get them into position.
Oh, okay. So they could probably use some more stability, maybe just to get. Like,
I'd like to see
short bursts of stability.
Leaps that give you stability while you're in the air.
Ooh, that would be cool. Also, what would be cool is since they don't, Mesmers, you need to try and use a Greatsword 5 on a warrior while he's jumping at you with a hammer, just because that would be awesome.
And, I mean, there's the point that a simple cripple or chill will severely limit
The distance that they can go.
Limit the distance they can go with their leaps.
That's unfortunate.
So there's
Poor
that.
leaps. So it'll be... I know that they've been working on balancing the warrior, and it will be interesting to see. I know that there is one warrior that...
It needs a tiny bit more.
Yeah. I know that there's one warrior that's really sort of making a name for himself as a warrior in SPVP. He was in a tournament 2 weekends ago, and apparently he had figured out how to get himself into Greatsword 100 Blades position, and was tearing people apart with it.
And like I said before, it's all about getting into that position.
Yeah.
Once you're there, a warrior can tear an entire team apart. But the trick is getting into that position.
Interesting. So it's either A, players need to bring a warrior, players need to get better at warrior, or B, warriors need 1 or 2 minor buffs to bring them up to the point where they're your wrecking ball.
You mentioned that one warrior player. I mean, a large part of that was that his entire team was basically supporting him to get that positioning.
Oh man, that would not be good in SPVP, in tournament PvP.
Because there's so many other things you have to take into account for a tournament.
Interesting. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it. We will definitely be talking about the NA tournament next week. That's coming up this next weekend because that's probably going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing AL. I think there's their initials. Used to be Team Sleepy. They are now a professional team that is, what is it? Something Legends. Aetherblade Legends.
Right,
yeah, I don't know.
I want them to be American Legends because America. But I never.
America. Yeah.
They have eagles that just like swoop down, and I'm okay with this.
They need an eagle finisher.
No. American Legends is a team of 5 rangers, and they use nothing but birds.
Nothing but eagles.
Yes. And when you use all 5 at the same time, they're eagles instead of the hawks. It's just bald eagles. Like it's the Easter egg where it summons the wolf.
And then when they do their horn, it's just
I'm
bald
okay with
eagles
that.
coming down on people's faces.
Beautiful. Done. Signed. Let's do
There
it.
it is.
Should there be a new horn legendary that summons eagles?
Yes. Yes. That's not even
legendary
a question. And then it leaves red, white, and blue footprints behind you.
That would actually be kind of awesome.
Done. I would stop going for Bolt right now and buy that war
Every
horn.
time you get like the swiftness buff from it, you stream red, white, and blue stripes behind you.
They need to make the American like America legendaries for every
They should
weapon.
make one for every class, for every country that plays.
Have one that like shoots missiles, the stars and bolts. There's a
there we go.
That's just a flag.
I'm really looking forward to when they launch in China with that. Guild Wars 2 is banned from China because of the America. Oh, anyways, let's go ahead and move on. Like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to be doing. Cutthroat Politics. You guys we've had a little bit more time to play it. Guys in chat, what do you guys like? What's your favorite activity from the Cutthroat Politics patch? Do you prefer South Sun Survival, or Aspect Arena, or Candidate Trials? We would love to know.
If you say Aspect Arena, you're wrong. Also, if you say Candidate Trials, you're wrong. Because
So what do you guys...
Evee and I are up in arms about this, because South Sun Survival I adore, and Evee hates it, and I can't stand Aspect Arena.
Which I think is ironic. Who are you voting for, Kate?
I'm voting for Evan Gnashblade, because I want to see Abaddon Fractal. I won't be heartbroken, like, understand this. I want to see the Abaddon Fractal. I won't be heartbroken if Kiel wins. It could be cool either way. I just would prefer to see Abaddon. That's my logic behind it. Nice.
Okay, so at least you guys' favorite activities are associated with the person you're voting for, so that's good. I have not actually done South Sun yet. South Sun Survival. I am a terrible host. I'm looking forward to it.
What you have to do is you have to go and die right away, and then spend the rest of the time haunting people, because that's the best part.
Okay, I will have to.
Opinion,
well,
anyway.
I need to get a few headshots, apparently.
I'm blown away by the fact.
Haunting people?
Oh yeah, I'm consistently second place as a ghost. I'm like, it blows my mind, but it's because I fly around and I pick up things and I get kills after I'm dead. I love it. It's wonderful.
You just like carca bombing people, don't you?
Oh, I do. It's the greatest thing. I enjoy putting them between. There's beacons that shine up and apply Torment, which, if you haven't played recently, Torment does 75% damage of bleeds if you're standing still, and 150% damage of bleeds if you're moving. So you put the Torment one in front of them and the Karka behind them, and they run over the Torment one, and they can't stop because there's the Karka behind them. I just sit there and cackle.
Evil, Kate.
That's amazing.
It's my favorite thing.
I will say I was a little bit disappointed that South Sun Survival was not like a day-long thing where it was DayZ style, where people pop in and pop out. But
no,
this sounds like it's amazing. Anyways.
I love it.
That's pretty cool.
My eyebrows hurt. I'm making too many facial expressions.
Candidate trials have been sort of a hot topic, though, on the community. I've seen a lot of posts on Reddit, a lot of stuff on the forum about it. People either hate it or love it. Kate, how do you feel about candidate trials?
I feel like it's a subpar event. It's not that necessarily that I hate it. I just think it's like, oh, hey, we took a horde event and we put it in a instance, and now we have a group minigame, guys. Like, it doesn't appeal to me as a game type. It doesn't appeal to me as an event. I don't think it offers anything different than an event in the open world, and I think it was kind of a subpar way of going about bringing up a group activity.
The thing with candidate trials is it basically boils down to everything that's wrong with PvE right now.
That's true.
And I hate to say it, but that's literally what it boils down to. Because
Why so?
The easiest way to do candidate trials is to bring as much damage as possible and just wipe the floor with everything. Mm-hmm. You'd assume it would be to control the plunderers, but you're better off just killing everything.
So bringing 5 Guardian or 4 Guardian or 4 Warriors and a Mesmer.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
Well, not a Mesmer, but a Guardian, because you need a little bit of control. And Guardians have wonderful damage now, so...
So what you're saying is I need to get back to leveling my Warrior.
Basically.
Alright, I'll get around to it.
Oh no, when I've tried to do candidate trials on my Thief, and I was just like, I can't survive all these mobs. Then I tried doing it on my Mesmer, and I'm just like, I can't control these things because my clones are everywhere. And then I tried doing it on my Elementalist, and I was just like, I don't have the damage for this. I was just like...
I will say, as a group content, I have thoroughly enjoyed it. Even though I've gotten my tail kicked in it, I've gone in with Vrabin, with Trivier, who was on the show last week, and a few other people, and we kind of approached it like a WoW raid on some aspect from just that sort of general principle. So you're expecting to wipe and wipe a lot and sort of figure out and get a little bit better. And that sort of principle, I think, is how you're supposed to approach that minigame.
It was really frustrating for me when I was doing it with the group, because I was doing it with Triv and them, because I've known Triv for years now.
Oh, yeah, you were in that group, weren't you?
I wasn't
there.
in the group with you.
Oh, you weren't in
she
that
did
one?
it next day.
Oh,
and
okay.
it was incredibly frustrating for me, because whenever I tried to analyze the situation, it kept going back to, we would not be having this problem if we had different professions and more damage.
That was definitely an issue. Is for example, the strikers, and just because they had so much health, it was an obscene amount of health. What might be more interesting is if you had the concept of the boss / ads concept, where you have one enemy that you have to deal with maybe like 2 or 3 people, and then you have maybe one person dealing with the plunderers, and then one other person that's dealing with, mobs and stuff that are swarming around. Sort of as like it would make it more interesting.
You can't do that right now, because there's just, it's too much.
So, yeah, and I think one of the lame things is that the easiest way to do it is to get a warrior, go in by yourself, get a Zerker warrior, go in by yourself, and, run away. Wait for the plunderers to show up, run in, kill the plunderer, run away. Run in, kill the plunderer, run away. Run in, kill the plunderer, run away. And that's basically the easiest way to get number 4 single player, is to do it single player. That said...
And even with a group, that's still the best way to do it. You just take it to 5 people instead.
Yeah.
You run in, kill the plunderer, run away.
And that is one thing, Vrabin does bring up a good point, is really the veterans just... They don't die if you don't have like full Zerkers.
Veteran like random thing, or like the veteran mob.
Every veteran character in there has so much health at tier 3 and 4.
The health scaling for that is ridiculous.
It is pretty crazy. So I like it conceptually. I actually enjoy getting my face rolled by it, so I don't mind it. I wish that it would stick around longer, so it'd be something that I could actually say, you know what, I'm going to come back every week and try and get a little bit better at it, to be honest. Because I think it is something that as a group gets more and more coordinated, I think it would work very well to tie a group together over time and sort of get them to the point where they know each other so well that they're able to clear number 4. I like that it's difficult and that it takes a lot of... I mean, yes, the easiest way is full DPS, but I think a non-full DPS group can still do it. You just have to really know the people you're playing with and be able to simply react.
It's not so much just knowing the people that you're playing with, it's also having the right kind of build for it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that DPS, you're going to have a ton of CC. If not, you're just going to get swamped.
Yeah, it's not necessarily... I did enjoy the difficulty as well, because that's something we aren't seeing a lot right now in this game, is difficult content in PvE, and so it wasn't a problem with the difficulty, it was a problem with it's not designed in a way that's conducive to group play, in my opinion. Yeah,
that's true. There was not a lot of like, okay, this is how we're gonna do this coordinated. There wasn't coordination. It was a lot of, you go in and you run around screaming for a while.
Although I do have hope for the next content that's like this, only not mobs and bosses instead.
Oh yes, which we are going to be... Let's go ahead and keep moving on. And let's see, where do we want to talk about... Okay, we'll talk about that here. Next month, with the Queen's Jubilee, they are introducing rotating minigames, which includes the Keg Brawl, which I thought was interesting that they're pulling that out and making it rotating. You seem to like that. Kate, what do you think?
To me, it just stands out as the first instance of them pulling out a feature of the core game for the purpose of the living story. Probably because because there's some exploitation going on, but I mean, the only thing you're ruining is fun. There's no rewards for Keg Brawl, so...
The achievements.
I suppose.
Which is why
now that achievements are currency, I guess, yeah, now that it I can see why that would be, but I think it does mark the first instance of a core feature being removed for as part of the living story, not
Yeah,
necessarily
but
for it.
as far as a core feature being removed in terms for the living story, this one is probably the best candidate for it, considering how much work it needs.
Right.
Okay. I played Keg Brawl once, so yeah, I should probably do that to get my achievement points at some point. But yeah, it's not a mini game that really inspires me.
Hunter and I
Similar,
adored it before launch. We played it every beta, and we had so much fun with it. But
Kegel was amazing before people started exploiting.
once people figured out how to do, you can jump and throw the keg more than half of the field, almost the entire field, actually. So you can essentially just cheat and throw it the length of the field and score, and there's nothing anyone can do about it.
That's dumb.
It makes us all sad because we really enjoyed playing that game.
Oh man, well hopefully they'll fix that because that is kind of annoying. So Queen's Jubilee though is coming, so they are pulling that out. There's going to be some interesting stuff coming. Evie, why don't you give us a rundown of some of the content that we're going to be seeing?
I can show you the world.
That was a magic carpet.
Shimmering. Well, hot air balloons.
Close enough.
Oh, I was so excited about the return of that song on this podcast.
Oh, that's right. Evie, go ahead if you'd like. We lost one viewer already, so...
Okay, so I don't know why they're putting so much emphasis on this, but there's hot air balloons to go to Divinity's Reach.
They're pretty.
Because the surrogates don't exist.
They actually have full physics on the hot air balloon, and it's the initial, what's going to happen is you're going to actually fly across all of Tyria, so it's going to actually be like this full, you'll be able to fly into Divinity's Reach, see everything in full 3D proper, because what they're doing is they're making the world fully seamless.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, no, that's not happening.
I'm going to say it's because they're going to implement guild airships that can fly over the terrain, and this is their test run for it.
Unfortunately, you cannot fly down. Well, actually, you will be flying down into the Great Collapse Sunken Colony, just not in the way that you're thinking. What's happened to the Great Collapse?
Doesn't exist anymore.
Yes.
Well,
so what has happened?
It's still a
Kate?
hole in the ground.
Well, no. Sort of.
From the
They're kind of
concept art,
up.
it looks like a hole in the ground. There's a giant bird glass case being built over it, and a Colosseum type thing being built into the giant hole from the concept art. You can see the construction going on in Divinity's Reach at the moment.
There's a tarp. Because it's a tarp.
Keep talking.
But other than that, I don't really know what they're doing with it. Because the Crown Pavilion, which is the other thing, is a mini zone in itself.
As far as I can tell, that is what they're doing, isn't it? Isn't the Crown Pavilion what was the Great Collapse formerly?
Well,
that's what's under the tarp.
I'm not entirely sure because there's two things going on. There's people data mine talking about the Royal Terrace, and then there's also the Crown Pavilion. I'm not sure which is which.
I think that the Royal Terrace is the Crown Pavilion.
I have not seen the pictures, but I also got rocks confused. If you look on the thing that is called the release page today, I thought Rox was a centaur, and I got really upset about centaurs being in Divinity's Reach. In my defense, she has a really humanoid face, and I can't see her ears, and she doesn't look like a char in that picture. But I was wrong. Let it be known.
Oh, well.
I will say, Lisekins, as far as guild airships over guild halls, yeah, we're assuming guild airships over guild halls, but I'm holding out for guilds being able to claim places in the open world. Because it will happen, and it will enrage Kate and Evie.
Versus guild halls. Airships are not going to be a thing. Guild halls in the mists are going to be a thing, so you can customize what they look like. This is my...
So we'll be getting
Why
rifts.
can't you customize what an airship looks like? See, there are divisions in Relics of War when it comes to guild halls.
Oh,
well, there's a lot of
You need to
divisions
know
in
this.
Relics of War, but guild halls isn't... I mean, there's the GIFs and GIFs division. There's the Thieves are an enjoyable class to play, and we hate Thieves division. There's a lot of divisions here.
I'm gonna back up the Quaggan as a playable race. I just think that would be hilarious.
No, never leave. No.
Nope.
I will
Not really,
agree.
no.
Having both would be amazing. Like having one of the guild halls that you can purchase be a guild airship, and so you can choose. I think that would be fantastic.
Okay, I'll allow it.
So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to see what they do. Arena usually surprises me with those sorts of things, and I hope that what's going on is that they just really want to polish it so that when it comes out, which also they did say guild halls and player housing will be out at the same time. So they've said
That
that
is cool.
multiple times.
I hope they integrate them. I hope either the housing goes with the guild hall or somehow they connect, or you can like
Oh,
represent your
man.
guild within your house.
Yeah, It'd
Guild
be-
neighborhoods in the mist.
that would actually be kind of
People
awesome.
can come into
Players'
our
house.
guild hall and I'll be like, you came to the wrong neighborhood, and then I'll dance around them in a snowman tonic. This is my plan.
Oh my goodness! And hopefully by then they'll have like the snowmen that drop down from the sky, so you can just run around in a circle and like encircle them with snowmen. And there you go.
Okay. Can we keep talking about the Queen's Jubilee?
Yeah, let's go ahead and move
okay.
back to what we were actually going to talk about. Chat distracted us. It's a thing. I like talking about. Well, I like talking to chat.
finishers.
But okay, so they're going to be.
The Olympic race!
There's going to be an Olympic race. What? Talk to me.
It's
Carry
beacons.
the torches.
Oh, that's what that. So what do you guys think that's going to be? It sounded like it might be in the open Divinity's Reach. It might be instanced. I'm kind of confused.
I'm thinking it's going to be like Sanctum Sprint 2.0, just carrying torches instead.
Is it going to be multiplayer or single player?
I really don't know.
So do you think the Queen will have bought Aether crystals for jumping and
I
running and
just-
stuff?
No, I personally want to see a like single player thing where you're racing against the clock.
Yeah, I would rather
Depends
see that
How
too.
well you do against the clock depends on like what kind of reward you get.
Yes,
or
please.
achievement.
That's
Stop
a-
having people knock me off things. And also, I would like time to take screenshots, even if it's timed. I just want to stop and look at things.
You do realize that you can do that once you've won like Sanctum Sprint.
You can't go back past a
Can't go
certain
back
point. It
that
works
much.
you.
Well, yeah, but no. Then after you've won, then your next route you just sort of walk through. You don't have to win every single time.
Oh, yes, you do. How can you even play without?
Literally, that's what I did. I won.
Which
I got the win,
It's just funny.
and then I
giant
just
squid of anger.
I just enjoyed the zone after that because it was like I have no pressure anymore. I want to jump up on that thing, so I went and jumped up on that thing. 30 people ran past me. I don't even know how we got 30 people into the instance, but they all passed me, and I was in 30th place. I think I saw a Quaggan running it. I'm not quite sure how that happened, but it was fantastic because I was like, I'm gonna jump on that, and I'm gonna jump on that. I think I talked about this last time. It's just fun to enjoy the zone after you won.
Sanctum Sprint remains my favorite activity that they've ever put in
It's
Guild Wars 2.
fantastic. I'm glad that it's in the cycle.
Yes, incredibly so. I'm just like, yay!
It is fantastic.
That face.
So, okay, yeah, now I'm actually even more excited about the beacons thing. I was just thinking it would be like you're running around in a circle and you're like, lighting the beacons, yeah, woo! I hope they turn you into a
A lot
spider.
of people have complained about just like interacting with stuff in the world 100 times.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I
Yes.
really doubt we're going to see that.
As soon as I read it, I was like, no, don't even. I was like, oh, if they make that a main feature, I would be so upset. But it sounds better. They phrased it on the website as racing around a course, so
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
So, interesting things also is the Queen's Gauntlet as well. Well, let's go to Crown Pavilion really quick. It's a mini zone. You gain access to unique reward vendors, which I believe are racial, correct?
Well, it's weird how they mentioned it because you can represent a city, and they didn't say if it was the capital cities, the racial cities, or it's just represent a city and be a champion for
Ooh,
it.
so I could maybe, if they're like really outside the box, I could like go to the city in southern southwestern Ascalon, or Queensdale. Sorry, that I like so much.
About to be like Ebonhawk?
No, that one. That one would be cool to represent. But no, that little tiny town of Claypool. It'd be like, dudes, I'm gonna represent you in this tournament. Like, give me your tabard, and they'll be like, here, represent us, Shongoku. And then I'll go and I'll be like, yeah, beating people up with Death Shroud.
I was thinking more along the lines of like Asura could represent their colleges, Chari could represent their different legions, humans could represent the Ebonhawk or the Crichtons or Elonians or Cantons, depending on like, you know, their thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll probably be more like your racial city, but
Well, the splits between the racial cities,
Yeah.
because you see that with
really?
like personal story, all the races have some kind of split for like different factions within their own cities.
Oh, that's
With the
a good point.
Safari, it's the cycles. With the Char, it's the legions. Humans have the nobility, whatnot. Or you could go with Ascalonian versus Crichton versus Canton, because a lot of the personal story revolves
versus
around
Elonin.
Yeah.
With the Asura, there's the different colleges, and with the Norn, there's the different spirits.
Oh, that would be fascinating.
I could be completely blowing this out of proportion. It's just like, oh, you're a Norn, you're representing a whole back. Here you go.
That could be
I
interesting.
suspect that's what we'll see, but I will always hold out the hope that it's more than that.
So, the zone, the actual combat that we're going to be doing, where we represent our whoever we're representing, there's going to be solo combat versus unique bosses, and I believe they're champions. Yes, or are they just
Say there
bosses?
was
I don't know.
It's just said there were bosses.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then yeah. But there are unique rewards from this. I believe. Are there unique rewards, or am I just making stuff up right now?
I'm not sure what the deal is with Queen's Gauntlet in terms of rewards.
Oh, that's an interesting
Okay.
thing. The humans could actually be representing a god.
Yeah. As far as rewards go, they did mention the clock. What was it?
The watchwork.
Watchwork. You
Yeah.
could turn that in for new sigils and runes or new rewards. I'm assuming that doing this stuff with like championing and the Queen's Gauntlet will give you clockwork things.
Yeah, probably. Now, one thing that
Sorry,
I'm both
but-
excited about and sad about is they said that you might be able to get that you might be able to find a recipe for a personal portal generator.
There's actually a post about that. The portal is a consumable which lets you learn a skill.
What?
So basically, Mesmers will now know what thieves felt when people started using Ash Legion kits.
What?
But it's PvE
So you
only
learn
skill?
a PvE only portal skill.
Holy smokes, they have just leveled the playfield for jumping puzzles.
I've got to get my hands on one of those because I can do jumping
Okay,
puzzles on my thief. but
what's
it's
the
hard when I
probability
use
of
my
us
sword
getting
shot.
this?
Hold on. Let me quote the thing. The
Okay.
portal is a one-time use consumable that effectively allows you to use a skill that is similar to the Mesmer's portal. We recognize it as a very powerful item, so the recipe is quite rare and takes considerable resources to manufacture.
Did a keyboard just get thrown down the stairs? Because I'm really excited about it. It is PvE only confirmed. Oh, Eric just laughed.
Oh, sorry. Oh, so it's quite rare. So it's a 0.000000001%,
So,
Why?
which is about half the chance of it to drop.
If it's PvE only, why make it that rare? Why not just say every profession can have a portal, and if you want to be using portal, you can? I mean, it's not all that useful in PvE content besides jumping puzzles.
This is gonna be like my hair dye
Because-
kit that I want, my permanent hair kit that I wanted to
I
get.
have to assume that it's
Related
because
to that,
overlap between PvE and World v World.
the gem cost of a hair kit, a permanent hairstyle contract, equates to about $687 US. It looks
Except
as
for
if I've
the
just
fact
tweeted
that that's just a buy order. No one's actually selling them because there's only 5 of them in the game.
Wow.
Well, there's more than 5. I think there's about 150 to 200 of them in the game out of the millions of people that are playing each week. Sorry, I don't like their
I
rare
don't know why
drops.
they
I think it's
created that
bullcrap.
item.
I don't even know
Because-
why they have the item in the game. I'm sorry. Yay.
I understand you want to make money off of your consumable hair kit, but don't taunt people with something that they're never going to get.
Yeah, it's...
Please.
Yeah, no. Just sell it for $50. If you want it to be worth $50, sell it for $50. I will probably... Well, I won't buy it for $50.
Well, here's the thing. It's not worth $50.
No, it's not.
Weapon skins are worth $50.
So... Oh, there is one on the auction house. Yay! Trading post. Yeah, no one's ever gonna buy it. Ah. So anyways, that thing's dumb. I'm not a fan of rare drops. Moving on, though, to more interesting, fun things. They are adding some awesome stuff with this patch as well. Now that we're done with our rants and I walked out. Specifically, the wallet. We've been wanting this for a while. Evie, tell us about the wallet.
I can save up all my bank space from tokens because it will not have a limit. Oh my god. Yes.
I
Sorry.
added it up. I'm gonna reclaim
Just
1.5
3
bank
tabs for
slots.
3 bank tabs are going to be freed up for me. I don't know what to do.
It's magic. I'm gonna put armor in them.
And here's another takeaway from the thread. They also confirmed that karma will now be account bound.
Oh, this is
Well,
a
okay,
thing.
here's the thing. This is the cool thing. The wallet is an account-bound thing. All of your gold goes into it. All of your karma goes into it. All of your... Every currency in the game that is a currency that you can trade in will be in the wallet. All of your badges
oh
of
my goodness.
honor.
This is the greatest thing that's happened since, I don't know, the game released.
It is... It sounds fantastic. I'm really looking forward to it. And apparently... I mean, obviously there is a maximum number of things that you can stack in, but it's going to be a huge number. I mean, if it's the same level as how much gold you can have for each token, you can have like 1 million tokens and you'll be fine.
No, the currency wallets function the same way that Gold and Karma do currently, except it's going to be completely account bound, so all dungeon tokens, fractal relics, anything that is a currency will be unlimited.
Well,
except it's going to be a UI.
But that's not necessarily true. The unlimited is... You can't have an unlimited stack. Now, you can have so many
There's no
that
stacks.
there's no
It's
point.
just a currency now. There's no item.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just a UI item.
Let me rephrase
like
that.
it says how many you have.
When you're coding something, you cannot have a unlimited variable for that number.
Okay,
So
fine, but it's ridiculously high so that it's
ridiculously
practically
high.
I said 1
unlimited.
million tokens. Who's gonna have 1 million tokens? Literally 1 million tokens.
Don't even say that because somebody's gonna start farming COF and they're gonna send a screenshot and they're gonna
If
be like,
you-
Eric,
Send
Don't
me a
even.
screenshot of your 1 million tokens. Do it. I want to see this because that would be
There
amazing.
are people that are at the gold cap in WoW. So
It's true, but the gold cap in WoW, if you know how to play the market, is really not that difficult to do.
okay, well, let's not talk
if
about
you know
market
how,
because
if
they
you
make
have
me
the
sad.
money to play the market in Guild Wars 2, you could probably get gold cap.
The market in Guild Wars 2 is so different than the market in World of Warcraft that it's
Yeah, but I'm
pretty
still
much
saying, if you can
uncomparable.
play, you can get it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it'll be... Wallet's awesome. Huge win. Yes. Dungeon rewards are changing. Evie, you talked about this before. Give us a quick synopsis of what's going on.
COF farming is gone. Yes.
Do you think so?
Yeah, because the reason why COF farming is a thing is because of the money that you get from the bosses.
Mm-hmm.
And since you can like pop through all the bosses in like 6 minutes, you just go through that. It's not the actual dungeon rewards that you want, it's the money off the bosses.
Yes,
Right.
which is why you actually run through with
So, like, okay.
Omnom Berry Bars, because you're maximing the money that you get per run. And that's why, and that did not have diminishing returns like the tokens. They didn't care about the tokens.
Now it's all about the end of the dungeon, which has its own problems, I will admit. But in the end, it's going to allow people that like running things other than COF to be able to make a decent amount of money. When you consider that in a raw path is probably going to give you a little over 3 gold.
I'm okay with that. We
Yeah.
should start running around more.
Yeah.
I still need my tokens. I want an army
Well,
set out of there.
Here's
Yes.
the thing, Trivco has a raw pretty much on farm, so I am incredibly happy for this because this might mean I might actually make money in this game.
It'll be nice. Although, there's a new way that may actually allow us to make money as well. Evie, you have a plan for this. It is the champion chests that are coming out with the potential for skill points.
Anyone what I'm farming.
Okay, so Evie's going to be
I
farming...
know.
Evie's farming a rapid respawning troll. So what you guys need to do...
I'd tell anyone where it's at, because the only way you can reach it is with some kind of shadow step. That's the only hint I'm giving.
Oh, okay.
Spirit
I might
knows what I'm
know.
talking about.
I think I know.
Okay, so I'm going to have to
That's
figure
what
this
beef,
out.
so-
Alright, so I'm going to... I'll figure this out. I've got tools that...
I want to
I
become a
was
ram.
actually really surprised when I found this champion because he went down so quickly.
Yep.
And then
Also,
10 seconds later, it popped up again, and I was just like...
So,
"Eh."
Kate, what are we getting from these champion chests? Why is this actually an amazing, awesome thing that we're excited about?
there's the chance to drop new unique skins, including the rapier, which people have wanted, and I'm so glad that it's not a gem store or a money type deal. I will be farming things. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I don't know, for even farming. I'd never like to farm, but I'm excited about the prospect that a champion is now worth fighting at least a little bit, and hopefully the skins will be worth something.
So
They can drop stuff like lodestones too.
a lot of people
Which is
have...
useful.
Oh yeah, this is kind of like boss farming in Guild Wars 1, isn't it? Like you take your
Exactly.
character and
Oh,
you
yeah.
go out and you figure out a build that'll solo it. You either get a group together or you
funny
just get clever.
Because it's literally, it's like the time frame is the same and everything. Because when Guild Wars 1 launched, there was almost no reason to kill named creatures.
It's true.
And then Sorrow's Furnace came out, and they introduced green drops.
weapons. Yes, I remember that.
And all
I
of a
got the
sudden,
yak
we're just
slapper.
flocking to kill
Wait,
bosses.
do you think that they're going to put the yak slapper back in through this?
I doubt it.
I really hope so. Yak slapper. Anyways, please continue. So Kate, so what are the things? You can get the unique skins, you can get skill points. I believe you're also going to be able to start getting tier 7 mats from them? Is that accurate or no?
I believe so, but I don't have confirmation on that.
Okay. But we do know that they are going to be dropping more stuff.
Yeah,
which
we
I
do
think-
know.
They confirmed that they're saying high quality crafting materials. So that's all we know. We don't know if it's
So
tier
higher
6,
probability. So,
seven,
so blood farming bloods in the Frostgorge
this is
Sound.
why I want to kill the troll.
There's a troll in Frostgorge Sound. Champion troll that stands on top of an ice thing. Yeah, so you could kill him and kill all of his little buddies. And trolls are actually, I've found, some of the easiest champions to kill. Do you find that accurate? Kate, you have something else that you're going to be farming. Who are you going to farm?
The flame ram.
The
All
flame
glory
ram.
to the flame ram.
Where is this flame ram?
It's in I want to say Timberline Falls. It's the new one that people are farming for build DPS stuff. I just want to go down there and punch rams.
What does the flame ram look like? Is it a
Oh,
ram
it's
that's
not
on
a flame
fire?
ram. It's a flame ram is a reference to the time that we went to Ara and Ruminant Tonics and did the whiskey
That's
fight and
right.
lit the entire party on fire as a ram. Because Relics of War really likes our Ruminant Tonics.
They're amazing. I totally
Wonderful.
RP'd walked this weekend with a ruminant tonic and a kite behind like one of the bosses on our guild bounty. It was fantastic.
We have good times with tonics.
We do. Tonics. Okay, I'm pretty excited about that. Personally, I'm going to go to Ore, and there is a select list that I have written down because I'm a crazy person of champions who have wronged me in the past. There's the Priestess of Lissa, who stands in that that skill point in the
Can I
north.
interject for just one
I
moment?
can't believe you have a hit list.
Can I interject for just one moment? People, be very careful with Sean Luku because I am convinced that he is an internet psychopath.
A little
Don't
bit.
tell me your real name.
I'm so excited he has a hit list.
They have made me so angry in the past. It's just like, So the Priestess of Lissa in northern the Sea of Sorrows, or Sorrow Is it Sea of Sorrows? What's that first zone with Fort Trinity?
Straits of Devastation.
Streets of Devastation. There's that Priestess of Lissa. Worst skill point ever. I hate going to it because they just sit there and they stun lock you and stuff, and I'm like, it's always the last skill point I get in Ore because of that. The second to last skill point I get is in Cursed Shore, where there's that stupid Baroness that stands on the skill point and never leaves it ever, even though Spirit seems to think that it patrols for some reason.
She patrols.
I don't know what weird voodoo you've been doing, but it's like always... I can never get it fast enough. So anyways, there's that. So those are the two that I'm going to kill. There are other champions that have annoyed me, but not to the extent of, I will destroy you. So, there we go. That's my hit list right now. If you'd like to join me, because I definitely won't be able to solo them, I'll be in Ore.
If you're a person who doesn't have a hit list, but want a list of champions to hit up, the wiki is compiling a list of all champions in the game. So keep an eye out on that, and browse it at your leisure.
The wiki
Nice.
is an incredibly valuable tool for those that can brave the structure of it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I know
It's getting
some people
better.
do not like the structure of the wiki. It's getting better, yeah, but it's still kind of messy.
It's getting there though. It's becoming a really good resource for a lot of things.
It is, yeah. Especially Norn Mail Armor. Fantastic. Someone went through, did all the Norn Mail armors, and, it looks amazing. I don't know who it
He's a
was.
psychopath and
but
probably
thank-
has OCD.
I was really, really bored one night. Alright, moving on. They have improved. They're going to be doing some graphics improvements. Kate, what exactly are they doing?
They're going to scale the effects of your attacks so that when you are in a group of more than, 3 mesmers, you can actually see what's going on. It's not just like a rainbow blur across your screen of chaos. You might actually be able to see what's going on in combat. I'm pleased about this change. I will be able to see things.
Is it
Every-
weird that I could care less about this change in PvE and I'm more happy about it in SPVP because this
Yeah.
means it's going to be much easier for people to spectate?
That's a
Meaning
good point.
This will
It's
definitely
okay.
help their esports.
I feel like it'll
That
help
was
things
one of
across the
biggest
board.
complaints was just it's so hard to discern what is going on in PvP.
Yeah. So
Unless you really know what's going on already, it's just like
in chat, they were wondering if this would cause more lag. I'm hoping that it will not be like.
No.
I'm assuming it
It-
would actually reduce it from a technical standpoint. It should reduce it.
it's basically particle effect culling.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, that's an interesting point because if a whole bunch of people are throwing out effects and the effects are being produced on a scalable level, it could actually cause some server side lag, but probably not. What it's probably going to be is it's going to have like a threshold. I think they already count effects on some level. Like they already track effects, so all they have to do is basically have this system have another subroutine basically sitting alongside all of the other parallel running subroutines and being like, how many effects? Okay, now we're culling everything down. Now we're calling everything down. If it's poorly coded, which since it's brand new, I don't know, it could cause some code lag. But the good news is as they refine the code, if it's not already refined, which I think it probably will be, the lag will actually be reduced significantly, and you'll be able to see what's going on. So, also Necros don't really have many particle effects, so we're really not all that concerned about anything.
And neither do thieves, except for choking gas.
Well, yeah, but if you take a thief into World versus World, why?
Did you just say Necros don't have particle effects? Because I will hunt you down and I will find you.
What particle effects do we throw out
All
that's like
the stab
significant?
stuff. That's all you. All of the just this cloud of sadness.
It's like
and
at your
sadness.
knees. The only time it's a problem is if someone's playing Azura, and then it's like up to their waists, and they're like, I'm wearing hip boots to go through, or chest waders to go through the poison. And then you're good. See?
Okay, the only profession that does not have insane, professions, there's two, that don't have insane particle effects with basically anything that they do are thieves and warriors. Which is funny because those are the two professions that are magical.
Rangers are not crazy effects, are they?
Rangers
Yeah,
have some
that's okay.
crazy particle effects.
On what?
Some of the things.
I guess they're great sword.
The giant animals.
Yes, but that's
The
great sword
animals
only.
and, like, the healing spring and
Traps.
Healing
tons of
spring is
arrows.
healing spring is like having a pond in your backyard. You don't really notice it until you fall into it.
I can't say I've ever fallen into the pond in my backyard, and I actually have one.
See, so it's good. You see it, but it's not dominating. Okay,
Well,
fine.
I'm not
I'll give
throwing
you healing
cluster
spring.
bombs into it either.
Also, birds.
Okay, you're right. Done. All right, you are correct. I stand corrected. Birds. Final word.
We just see snap. I need that as an emote back in Guild Wars. I
And
miss
yes,
it so
Necro
much.
is amazing in Dub v Dub. I wouldn't say it's necessarily OP, but it is a lot of fun to just throw every fear you have. I will say that I trained people a third of the way across a borderland, and I was being like triple teamed.
Escaping, but you can't disengage.
Well, no, that's all they are is disengaged. They're constantly disengaged. They can't escape. They're just constantly making them so that they're not hitting you. Which we did not talk about this last week.
Okay.
Fantastic post. Since we're pretty much done talking about... we've got one more thing, actually. We'll go back really quick to the watchwork content in Jubilee, and then we'll talk about disengaging versus escaping and why that's brilliant. The watchwork guys. I have a theory. I think that they were built indirectly by the Aetherblades, sold to Queen Jenna, and that the Aetherblades are essentially planning an assassination. And that's why we need to watch the skies, because... watchwork. Evee.
Here's the thing. Have you seen that mini?
Yes.
The one that looks
a lot.
suspiciously like a chronomancer.
Yeah.
Oh my
so
goodness.
I'm sitting here just like, maybe this is gonna be a thing.
Wait. The pseudo tech of the Aetherblades combined. I mean, it's got a lot of Azura elements to it, but the base tech is kind of chronomancery.
My favorite theory right now is that whatever was opened up by the Great Collapse revealed some technology that's been lost for a while. It doesn't explain the Watch the Skies. Can someone, whoever in chat was talking about the event lead up, could you shout out so I can properly credit for you?
I believe it was the...
It was somebody with a pink name, I know that. They were talking about how there's going to be an event that builds up into watching the skies.
Yeah.
But I missed it.
There we go. Live Spartan.
Live Spartan, you.
235. Hello, Live Spartan 235. So, yeah. Building up to watch the skies. Well, Aetherblades, skies. And they seem to be the big bads. Evee, you're not thinking... Kralki? Jor.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's related to a dragon at all. Spirit kind of hit the head with the Great Collapse. At least to my theory. Because, I mean, before Eye of the North was going to be a thing, there was still going to be the huge underground part of it. That was still going to be a thing. And Utopia was going to be a new expansion. With Chronomancers, which...
So you think we're getting Utopia? You think they're building us towards Utopia?
There's more support to Utopia than you think. There's actually a concept art that just released that is basically Labyrinthine Cliffs, and so there's some evidence that they're recycling old concepts from Utopia, in addition to the fact that the Chronomancer and the new mini are very, very close.
They're basically the same thing. If you look at concept art for Chronomancer, it's the mini.
So you don't think that the Aetherblades are not... So you don't think the Aetherblades are going to be our main enemy? Because I seem to think that they're building them up as, like, our current...
I'm not saying they're not going to be involved, because remember they left an open end with Scarlet, who... We have no idea who Scarlet is, but I'm saying that the Watchwork stuff themselves, not Aetherblade technology. I think it's an older, different technology.
It's much older. Well, maybe not necessarily older as much as... from a different source. Like, the Aetherblades are pirates from the sky. We don't know exactly where they came from. They could have flown in from Alona. They could have, like, popped into the ground and been like, oh, hey, we found all this tech, and we're just like, and now we can fly a ship.
Plus, we know they're sponsored by Inquest, and there's no telling of Inquest involvement in
incredibly secretive.
Queen Jenna. Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
they got this armor from a source, or this technology from a source they trust enough to guard their city.
Maybe. Well,
If they bought it off the Aetherblade Pirates or the Inquest, I don't think they'd trust it to guard their city.
that's a good point. Well, I would assume that they didn't buy it directly from the Aetherblades. Clearly they would not be like, hey guys, you've been attacking Lion's Arch. That's pretty cool. Why don't you guard our city? That sounds fantastic. They're not that dumb. I mean, maybe Queen Jenna is. I don't really know much about her. I do know that Anise would probably be like, Queen Jenna? Yeah.
Anise would be like,
terrible plan. That's the worst plan I've ever heard. Logan would be like, that's awesome! They're cool robots! Go ahead, Evie.
Anise would look at Jenna and just be like, no.
I hope so.
I think Anise is, pretty intelligent.
I hope she slapped Logan too, just for good measure. She's like, no, don't enable.
Logan would be next to Jenna, and she was like,
oh, I am hoping that she comes back a little bit. I know that Rox and Bram are going to be main characters in the storyline because they've been featured, so they're going to probably be a gladiatorial team, much like the Destiny's Edge sort of started. So we're going to be seeing our own.
There needs to be a team of Rox, Bram, and Majorie Delacroix.
I'm entirely okay with it. Sign me up.
In there somewhere.
Can it be? Oh no, it can't be that person.
Can their bruiser be a Quaggan?
None of you have read Sea of Sorrows, have you?
Do you want it to be? Is there a?
I'm sad. No, I just want it to be a character like Umacha from Sea of Sorrows, who was the greatest Asura that ever lived.
Really, she beats out Snaff.
Oh god, she's wonderful. If you haven't read Sea of Sorrows, I highly recommend it. It's clearly the best Guild Wars book that's out there right now.
Really?
There's a lot of interesting lore pieces. It provides a lot of context for Lion's Arch. I have a lot of new respect for Lion's Arch as a city now that I know a lot more about it, and it's really good. Don't do the Mariner's Plaques before you read the book. It'll upset you.
Okay.
But they're out there.
Good call. Someone's thinking in chat, maybe the Tengu. Maybe they recruit a Tengu.
I'm okay with that. I have so many theories about how we're going to meet the Tengu, but we're going to be playing one someday. I feel it in my heart place.
No, it's so many players want to play a Tengu. I can't see them not putting the Tengu in.
Crafting is coming soon, but not with this patch, and neither are the new legendaries, but within the next 6 months, according to the devs.
Yeah, and we heard earlier that the crafting, we're not going to be seeing 500 crafting for every profession at the same time. They're going to be wheeling them out, maybe one by one, maybe in bursts. We don't really know. But they said that they're not necessarily coming all at the same time.
Well, I would imagine when they do, like, maybe all weapons and armor at the same time, because it would be really unfair if, like, Leatherworker got it before Armor Smith, because, yeah.
I'm assuming they're going to do cooking first, because cooking, and then, like, maybe...
Oh, cooking.
I want my Ascended cooking recipes.
I can't wait. I hope
Ascended cooking recipes would be like these massive trays that are generally they're cheaper than the current trays, but they give like whatever max stats you
That'd be
actually
fantastic.
want.
And you don't have to eat them. They throw them at you, so it just applies until you say, I don't want to buy this anymore.
You throw it in an area and all of a sudden it's like,
so here's an interesting thing. They've added, and they talked about this in a patch in an interview with Bobby Stein on Guild Wars 2 Hub, GW2hub.com. They added jaw movement to characters in the open world. So as you're walking by, your character just sort of looks at it, opens it, because they have head tracking too. They look at it, their jaw opens, and a Pop-Tart just shoots into their mouth, and then they go by. And there we go. That's how Ascended cooking works. You just look at it and you're like, ah.
That failed.
Were you attempting to demonstrate with your chip?
Oh.
Okay, well, it's guided by like Azura tracking. So it's like a little golem sitting there, and he just picks it up and like slings it at you. A little golem Quaggan. So that first of all, it will anger Ryan to no end because it's a Quaggan. Second of all, it'll be obscenely cute. And then when it's not doing anything, it's just sitting there with a kite.
And it's on the gem store.
Best item ever.
No, it's not sitting there with a kite. It's in a little petticoat, and it just holds up a tray. It's like...
With a panda hat.
Do you want food?
That'd actually be amazing.
Bad for awing that, but that's adorable.
That would be. The interview itself, though, was pretty awesome because he talked about the group that's writing right now is not the group that wrote the personal story, which, depending on your opinions, it's either a good or bad thing. But what they're doing is the group has sort of been slowly but surely getting their writing and their systems for writing down, because what has happened is they've had to you should read the interview because it gives more detail. I'm going to summarize really quick. What has happened is that the writing team for ArenaNet shifted to being a very writing focused. It's pretty much their job. They're not they're not developers who also write. They are writers who also do a little bit of development. And they're sort of still finding their voice, but they've been getting a lot better at it, and they've been figuring out the process for writing with the deadlines that they have. Because when Guild Wars 2 was being written initially, there weren't necessarily as many deadlines. I mean, they were there, but they were large-scale deadlines, like have this much massive story done, as opposed to have this story. And simultaneously, they weren't necessarily, I don't think, expecting on the living story. He talks about how what's happened now with the living story is that they've had to radically shift how they do all their writing, how they do all their storytelling, and they didn't and they've been slowly but surely getting as many pieces in place. And so the first thing that they focused on before getting all of the first thing that they focused on was getting the writing teams together, getting the way that they submit content together, how they meet deadlines and how they set deadlines together, and simultaneously how they actually go through and tell the story, and how that is communicated. And they've been experimenting with a lot of stuff through all of these patches. I'm apparently Italian because of how much my hands are moving. And what's interesting is now that they have a system down, that they're trying to finalize how they tell the story. So they're working on more. Evee is doing an interpretive dance for me. They're working on doing more cinematics, both in-game cinematics and the awesome Major Delacroix style cinematic. Now that they have those systems down, so the next big challenge that he was saying that they have is making it so that people can refresh themselves on the living story, or if they've fallen behind, catch up. And that seemed to be the big thing that they're really trying to figure out how to do. Kate, how would you, if you had to, I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat here, because we're going to go to hardcore speculation. If you were going to try and recap someone on all of the story that's happened since Guild Wars 2 launched, what system would you use?
Off the top of my head, I would start with, there's two things that come to mind. First of all, a historian, like a prior historian, for a chapter, and you talk to this historian, he tells you about this chapter in particular, he's researching it, whatever. You can replay the playable instances, you can see the cutscenes as many times as you want, and I would also add to the journal, which a lot of people forget exists, the functionality to show the living story as well as the personal story. And if you click on the living story side of things, it gives you a summary, maybe important plot lines that you're supposed to take out of it. There's, in the personal story one, there's items of importance. I'd like stuff like that. So, like, say I unlocked the desert rose from this patch, or actually that's not appropriate, like the mini from this patch. I would be able to withdraw it from my journal as many times as I want, and I'd be able to have that around. I think that would fix a lot of it, but it would also be a system that I would use, and I would do it sorted by historian, so you don't have to do all of them in order. You can pick just the ones you missed.
Evee, how would you do it? That's a good idea.
The bonus mission pack in Guild Wars 1.
So what would that look like then in game?
There would be NPCs set up in Lion's Arch, the Derman Priory, the Order of Whispers base, which is, I forgot what it's called, and the Vigil Keep. And these historians will give you books, depending on which chapter of the living story you want to see. And these books will allow you to see the cutscenes, go through like any relevant NPC dialogue, and that's pretty much it.
Would you also then recommend that they include, So it could be a bunch of pages, and page 1 could be like the opening cutscene, and then a little bit of dialogue that tells what the heroes did at that point. Then the next linking cutscene, and basically dialogue to link between the cutscenes. The short stories could be in the appendix of the book. Now here's...
just have a cutscene narrative using like the intro for each race, and then when there's actual cutscenes from like the game that would have been there, you just plug those in where they need to be.
Yeah. The thing is, would you... I like that system. I was actually thinking of a very similar system. What I was also thinking, though, is that at the end of the book, I would, first of all, short stories that are on the Guild Wars 2 website should definitely find a way to make it in-game. I think that would be... So those would be a fantastic way to do that. It does encourage... Those short stories do encourage people to go to the actual Guild Wars 2 website, which, if you don't know, there are character things for Evan Kiel and Evan Kiel and Ellen Gnashblade. Ellen Kiel and Evan Gnashblade on the Guild Wars 2 website. The actual... What I would like to see in the book is those short stories, and simultaneously most of the story culminates in a final fight of some kind. I would like to see a single-player scaled version of the final fight that you can warp into, a la the bonus mission pack, and go in and actually participate in that fight. You get all of the story context, you get a sense of the final fight, and you're good. And don't make it necessarily super powerful with huge rewards, or with even with rewards. Just make it so that they can... Yeah, no rewards. Make it easy. It's just so that people can get a recap.
Here's the thing. With the personal story, there's always some kind of NPC that's tied to those fights, which is why I mentioned having it be like the bonus mission pack, where you literally see these things through the eyes of those NPCs rather than your player character. So you'd be playing as Ellen Kiel, you'd be playing as Bram or Rox, and doing those things like them.
Oh, so you could do side stories, like the final mission of the bonus mission pack could be Bram when he goes to Holbrack and finds his girlfriend / mate / group hug.
I don't want to see them adding more content. I'd rather see them
not adding, just recap what already exists.
Yeah. My one concern would be all of the the dialogue that happens in the open world, like the whole huge game changer for the South Sun chapter that happened recently. I can't even remember the name of it. With Kanak and his whole thing. The whole plot line where Ellen Kiel figures out what's going on and plans what she's going to do happens like a couple minutes after the end of an event in a dialogue session between two characters. They would have to either make those irrelevant to the story or find some way to present those to people who aren't there, who aren't going to be in the zone to do it, because it lost a lot of people. Everyone was just, what is going on? We don't know. We weren't there to see it happen. And though you could find it online, it wasn't a compelling way of telling a story, and it continues to be a flaw with the living story.
Good call on the difficulties of actually implementing that by Wildchar in chat, is that there is definitely a lot of work for localizing any new text that they put in there, because it is going to have to be in English, French, I believe, English, French, Spanish, and German.
And now the Asian languages. So, that said, they should have a team that does that, so, give them more work, says I. Raha!
No.
Wait,
reuse. No? I mean, there's no point in making new content to recap old content. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I mean, if you get the book, you're going to have to write linking sentences and stuff, which would have to be localized. You think you could just rip stuff straight from the already created text?
Yeah, sure. Why not? It happens all the time in history. You don't get a full book; you get the scraps of a book.
Oh, so like notes and stuff. So it's like World War Z, Guild Wars 2 style.
Sure.
Cool. I like that. All right. Well, to finish off, we are going to discuss really quickly disengage versus escaping. We mentioned it earlier in the show. Evee, I think this shows John Peters wrote an amazing post about it in the forums that discussed the differences between the two and how that affects profession design. Evie, what's the difference? Disengage and escape. It seems like it's the same thing. What's the difference?
Okay. The thing with disengaging is it's basically disengaging from a fight so that you can survive. Escaping is leaving a fight so that you can survive. Completely.
Which is very different.
Which
necromancer...
is very different, and he can speak for a necromancer much better than I can, so please go ahead.
A necromancer disengages from fights, and what you do with a necromancer is your fears, your survivability, death shroud, all of those sorts of effects, stunning someone, slowing them, anything that you can do to keep them from hitting you while you're moving away disengages you from them. They can't hit you, but you can either hit them, or you get to a point where neither of you are hitting each other. And the ultimate goal is, in disengage, is if you're attempting to flee, you are trying to get away to a point where they no longer have any tactical reason to pursue you. Obviously, in World vs. World, I disengaged across a third of the map. They still had a reason to pursue me because they just wanted to kill me, because they're jerks, and I was on their homeworld, and yeah, I mean, understandable. But I disengaged across a third of the map. With a guardian and a warrior, eventually an elementalist and a thief showed up as well, and I just kept dropping my number 5 staff and my number 3 death shroud. I did a necro base jump, which was fantastic, and it's really sad that it's gone. I did the wall.
You're the reason it's gone.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm certain that there were like 4 people who reported me, and they're like, necro base jump is OP. I'm like, oh. But it was just this constant. It wasn't the base jump was an escape maneuver. That would count as an escape. But everything else was basically keeping them away from me so that I could either get my health back or get distance on them or try and LOS them. But I could never actually, on my own, I could not break them. I could not outrun them. I could not outpace them, regardless of what I did. They had too many closers, too many all this other stuff. But I could constantly just keep them off me. And that's what disengaging is. Escape, on the other hand, is the thief and actually the engineer and the elementalist are all escapists. And how does that work, Evie?
Well, thieves are kind of a middle ground, so I'm not going to talk about them yet. Well, the thing with engineers, mesmers, and even elementalists is they not only can stop taking damage, they will like straight up just like deck out and just leave. And they have the tools to either stop people so that they can get away with more than sufficient time where the people cannot chase them down, or they can just like disappear. Case in point, Mesmer Portal is an escape tool, among many other things. Except it's a team escape tool. And the only team escape tool really in the game right now.
Which is one reason why it is so powerful in PvP. Because if a fight's going south, you don't want to necessarily give them 50 point or 25 points if your entire team goes down.
Yeah, which is why Portal is such a thing. In World v World, just as an example, let's say you're going into a keep, and the entire server shows up in this keep, and you're just like, alright, they're all here, but we could be somewhere else and be much more effective. A Mesmer can put a portal into like one side of the wall and then run out because they have pretty decent mobility, and then put a portal like on the other side of a cliff or something. And that entire army can just portal out. And suddenly all these people that were defending a keep were just like, ooh, where did they go? And they go like assault a tower or something.
So there you go. And the interesting thing that the point that John Peters was talking about is people were saying, oh, well, okay, Necros are OP now. What do these other classes have? And it was sort of that general discussion. And they're like, so why would I ever take an engineer over a Necro?
Because they can escape. And
because they can escape. Because disengage.
I don't know if really he kind of touched on it, but he didn't. But a lot of people tend to confuse disengaging and escaping.
Yes.
And a large part of that is because of the thief. for the longest time, the Thief was considered the best disengager. And it kind of still is, because stealth is a very good disengage tool. But on the flip side of it, thieves are also very good escapers.
Isn't stealth an escape tool? How is...
Stealth doesn't really last long enough. I mean, it
to
can be
escape.
an escape tool, but it's also a really good disengaging tool.
Because it's basically disengaging is keeping them from hitting you long enough to get away.
Well,
or to annoy them.
Stealth doesn't keep them from hitting you if
Yeah.
they can figure out your position. But it
Which
is
is
a very
why
good
if you ever see Shadow Refuge, drop every AoE you have on it.
Because
You don't make
90%
thieves
of the
cry.
time, Thief is not going to be smart enough to be able to stealth away from a Shadow Refuge.
It's true.
Or won't have the opportunity to.
Because you're dropping every AoE you have on it.
Well, it's Shadow Refuge. You have to have really, really good positioning with environment to be able to get away from someone
Yeah.
and them still think that you're in the Shadow Refuge.
So a thief, good disengager with stealth, but they're also an escaper.
Yeah, because they have Shadow. I mean, this is why short bow is so important in SPVP, because it is the best escape tool in the game.
Interesting. Oh, because it
Personally,
you're just gone.
It's the best escape tool. But as far as a personal level, the short bow is just bam, bam.
That's true. You can cover
If
an insane amount of territory.
If you have full initiative as a thief and you want to get away from a fight and you have a short bow, you can get away from a fight.
Cool. So it was cool to see him analyze that, simply because it shows that ArenaNet, when they're thinking about balance in PvP, they're thinking on so many more levels than I think most people do in PvP.
It's a much more conceptual level than just, oh, this is numbers.
Yeah. It's okay, so how does this class do this? And so the Necro and Engineer are very similar classes from a numbers standpoint. They're both stacking conditions, so they deal damage in similar ways. They're both very tough on a point, which is very similar. But it is how they actually go about doing the things that they do, and how it actually plays from a minute to minute, the way you're thinking about things, that affects how you play. For example, a Necro psychologically is very different when you're thinking about how you're going to do things than an Engineer.
They're much more attrition-based condition.
So wunderbar. I don't know why I went German there, but it's wonderful.
Whereas engineers are more pop in, put all your conditions on something, and then just oh, get out.
Yeah.
I almost went PG there.
I think that's actually... Isn't the F word still R?
I don't
Well,
know. We would have had to get a Gaki in here.
You two know I can sex.
Oh.
It's very hard for me to restrain myself on this show.
Yeah, you've done a great job, both of you. No F-bombs tonight. That's wonderful. Speaking of which, actually, that was one thing I noticed about the Mist tournament, the PAX qualifier. The announcers were way better. Grouch has been getting insanely better over these past few weeks, months, since he started. Because I know when he first started, he liked the F word.
There was some coarse language.
There was a lot of F-bombs dropped. None. That's key for bringing in people to watch.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that he might have gotten a bit of a scolding for that. And been like, look, we're actually trying to get people outside of this certain community, so please just don't.
Well, and that's the thing, is not only if he did get a scolding, which he probably did, it's good to see that he's taking it to heart and that he's growing as a caster, because he is really good right now. And so I'm really excited to see where that's going.
And I hate to say it, but I really want to see more casters.
That's right. Steppenwolf also did a fantastic job, German caster.
I can name 3 casters.
We've got
Are there
Blue
more
42,
than Blue
there's-
Grouch and Steppenwolf?
There's a few that come and go. In chat, do you guys know any other casters that are sort of good casters? Evee?
The only other casters I know are the Maker who I mean, he's done a great job, especially now that he's coming back.
Nice.
And when the game wasn't even in beta yet, DJ Wheat casted a PAX,
Will
and
he
he
be-
did an amazing job.
Yeah, DJ Wheat. Do you think DJ Wheat will come back? Because I know he was pretty burned on the whole lack of casting support at launch, wasn't he?
Yeah. If the game
Crouch
becomes
works for
popular-
ANET now.
I didn't know that.
Oh, he is their
If-
official caster. Oh, so that's why they were doing the official casting program, to find one that would be their official guy. Interesting.
I didn't know that he worked at ArenaNet.
Does he work there, or is he just on the official caster program?
While we find that out, you should tell everyone about our Twitter and stuff so we can
Okay.
log
Yeah,
out.
so
'cause
we
it's
can
been a
sign
long
out.
show.
All right, yes. Actually, no, we're at 1.5 hours. That's like our normal run. 7:30.
Yeah.
We just booked tonight. Like, we went through a ton of stuff. I was looking at going, wow, we might get done in an hour. So, anyways, for those of you watching on YouTube, you can follow us. My name is Eric. Also, in-game name is Shongaku. You can follow Kate at DamViolas. You can follow me at Relics of Ore. I also have at Shongaku, but I don't use it very often. And Kate will also occasionally tweet through at Relics of Ore. You can follow Evee in-game. Just hunt down Evee and then poke him and say, why does your Mesmer have no shirt? And you can also find Kate in-game at Spirit-Faced, so feel free to yell at us. We may or may not respond depending on how focused we are in our gaming time. You can also email us if you have any questions at relicsofwar@gmail.com. And I think that is... You can... Oh, and you can check us out at relicsofwar.com, the actual website. And we have forums there and everything. Kate does check them on a regular basis as our editor-in-chief. She does a great job with all of that. I'm more lackadaisical in my forum going. So, great to have you guys on the show. So we are going to call it and come back next week. And we'll also see you guys in game. Bye, everyone.
The stillness falls within the sound of more.
Oh, okay, I'll be there shortly. What am I doing?
To carry on dreaming
Oh,
the things you said.
toucan. Hello, what's his name again?
Trill. It's named after the raven that runs a shop in the Twilight Princess because I like Zelda games. And also that raven attacked me and killed me because I didn't pay for a potion once. But in my defense, I was broke.
So you resorted to stealing.
Yeah, well, you can put in 1 ruby and the raven would yell at you for being really cheap, but he would attack you, and I was like, I'm just gonna take this, and I ran and he chased me down and I died. Moral of the story, do not steal from ravens.